This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order, and the chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Elson for the roll call.
Councilman Harris.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Avery.
Here.
Eccles.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Cannon.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum present. The meeting is open for business. I will ask Jeremy Ward to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we praise you today for the beauty that you provided for us in the weather. And God, this morning we just ask that you would bless this council with wisdom and ability to lead our city in a way that brings honor and glory to you and to it. And Lord, we just pray this morning that you put your blessings on each of them for the time that they spend. And God, we just praise you today for who you are. It's in thy name we pray.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the two work sessions in the council meeting on March 6th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
Chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of the accounts for the week of March 2nd through the 8th and March 9th through the 15th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamations, Mayor.
Is anyone here to receive a proclamation? I don't know. I think I do have one. There's one on my table up there, but I'll go check while y'all
Okay. Okay, number 8 is unfinished business. A is an ordinance assenting to the annexation of property at 113 Murray Drive. This ordinance was presented for the first reading on March the 6th. The annexation was requested by the property owner, Ms. Betty F. Wood, who wishes to establish water service. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance.
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
9, this is a time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing and allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 3101 East Meagan Boulevard in District 1. The last known owners are Mad Have Lodging Corporation, Townhouse Motel Incorporated, and Cadence Bank as successor to the bank. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of it?
Mr. President, I'm Brian Harbison with the Building Department. We started this case in August of last year. It involves the old Townhouse Motel property, and I apologize in advance if any of you have vacation plans there this summer. This property has been a problem to the community and has much negative history to it. Been no permits to improve it, and we're asking today for a resolution to abate this nuisance, and our plans are to remove it.
Your plans are to what, Brian?
Sorry?
Your plans are to do what?
To remove the property.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that was clear.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of it?
I thought you were in favor of being upstairs. I'm keeping rather quiet about it downstairs. I didn't want to bring my family into it.
Okay, I didn't know. I know you in favor of it upstairs.
Oh, I'm in favor
Chair
of
will
that.
entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Number 10 is our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 417 Roslyn Drive in District 2. The last known owners are Jimmy R. Battelle and American General Finance Services of Alabama. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Please come forward to the microphone, please, sir. State your name and address for the city clerk.
Mister, I sold that property last year to Jerry
Would you name,
Collins.
please state your name and address to the city clerk.
Oh, yeah. Name's Jimmy R. Bidle.
Address,
I didn't hear you.
What is your address?
311 Morning View Drive.
thank you, sir.
That's in Gadsden.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, I sold that property. Owner financed to Jerry Collins on February the 19th of last year. He came in, we did draw up a paper, owner financed agreement, in which I did. And since then, I've had nothing missed out of it. Here's where he brought this paper, had me sign it. He's the one that filled it out.
Are you saying, sir, that you sold the property, you no longer have it, no longer own the property?
No, he actually, Jerry Collins owned it.
It'll be south, right there.
And as far as American General, that was paid off in 2008.
So there's not any liens on this piece of property?
Huh?
There's not any liens on this piece of property here, is
No,
what
sir,
you're...
at the time I know, there was no,
But might be now.
Did you get your lien from American General Finance Services?
yeah, and here's a check where they paid them off.
Let's see that.
Mr. President, would maybe our city attorney might want
Yeah.
to look at that first?
Here you go.
He can make some
Roger.
kind of determination on it.
How can you feel that? That's where he paid it. Here you go, Mr. Attorney.
And that also, please.
This is probably cleared up right here for you.
I can't reach it now.
This not the one.
The document he's given you is just a
Oh, okay. That's what I know.
a request, basically, to his attorney to draw up a contract of sale. It's not a deed, it didn't convey the property.
Property evidently hadn't been transferred on it.
This is the property that someone took a deed that, and recorded it purporting to give the property to the city. And the city, that was because of a criminal proceeding that was ongoing in municipal court, and the attorney got the deed and recorded it. The city never accepted the property, trying to avoid prosecution.
Paid for it?
If you have a mortgage, the record is at the probate court, what the mortgage, whether it's still in effect or not. Until someone goes and satisfies it on the record, that's a cloud on the title.
All I know is Mr. Collins, I had a terrible time with him. He did that, and then 2 weeks after he took possession of the property, he come to me and told me he had to buy a hot water heater, $300, one paid $300 water heater. I knew better than that. The water company give you a hot water heater,
Can y'all hear?
And so he went to the water company and had the water and every power and everything turned on. And he said it. And then he was giving me all kinds of trouble. I found out that I dealt with a scoundrel. I went down there, then he gave me a bunch of shit. So then he said this and that. So, so I took Jerry Ponders down there on the 14th of May to look at the property and see if there was anything the matter with that. And he ordered Mr. Ponders and myself out of the house. He said, you have to leave. This is my house. This house I'm paying for it. It's in my house. And so Mr. Ponders, we left, had to leave. And so he was representing that he owned that house. And before I could have time to get things done.
Evidently, he is the owner as far as courthouse is concerned, Roger.
Yeah, yes.
So what does he need to do? Get it transferred?
Well, if he's selling it to somebody, he needs to prepare a deed and record it.
And have it notarized.
Well, that's part of preparing.
Yeah. Actually, all he has is just a piece of paper somebody's written an agreement on it. Nobody never took anywhere, nobody took any action on it. And since you have paid the house off, the house is in your name, but it hadn't been changed at the courthouse with American General on there, that company on there. It's still showing a lien holder on, a mortgage company holding your property, but that's not true. You paid it off.
I done been, went to the courthouse. I went to American City Finance where I made this note, equity on my house to pay off these bills. Okay. Nobody ever told me nothing. I never said nothing. I paid $11,443 on outstanding debts. They issued checks for all of them. I've never seen one of them. That check doesn't sit right there. I never seen it. They signed it for me. You know? And that's it. But they, all of this stuff here, the American General is paid off. I went to the courthouse, I went to the lien, where they removed liens, and had the lien removed. I went to the city, Spring House, which is the one that took over for American General, and they said, okay, and so they made me up a letter, and they was satisfied. And so I took it up to the courthouse.
Okay.
And had it removed. So, I mean, it's just been a terrible mess for me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Roger, what do we need to do?
Go through with this here.
Sir?
What do we need to do?
Go through with this here.
Well, the issue is whether there's a nuisance at the house. That's the issue before the council, not who owns the property. And that's for you to determine whether there's a nuisance that needs to be abated. That's the issue that's before you.
Well, what do you mean? The fool set on fire. On the 16th of April, I went down there. I was at my daughter's birthday party. It was all together. The whole family was having a birthday party. And so he called me and said the house was on fire. We went down there, and the back room was on fire, and the fire department's there. Mr. Collins is running around out there telling everybody he just rents it. When it scored his paper, he supposedly bought it, you know. And he was the one that called up and had it inspected, had it condemned. Not me.
Okay, I think I know where we are now. The house has been burnt. It's not livable, and today we're going to abate the nuisance on that piece of property. That's what Mr. Harbison's got before us.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're gonna,
I mean, it just is, as far as the house, is there, I want to get primarily,
We thank you.
Sue the man, you know, 'cause he,
I wonder if he had
There's
insurance.
clearly states on that statement. I sold him the house for $8,500.
well,
And
that's not, we're gonna abate the nuisance as it is now, and you need to get your deed and everything straightened out on who owns the house at the courthouse.
yeah, Already have, I mean.
Well, it doesn't show that up there. He wouldn't be saying you were the owner. So you need to go up there and straighten it out.
What?
Bob, it appears that he can't get it straightened out himself. Wouldn't we not be fruitful to him in saying, please go get you some legal advice?
That's
A
what I was
lawyer and go from there.
Part of the problem is the legal advice.
I know exactly what it is, but he can't straighten it out. All we can do is debate the property, and then he needs legal advice on what you need to do.
I wonder if he,
Really.
Did you hear what he said, Ben?
Yeah, Ben, yeah.
I wonder if,
You're not gonna get it here.
did you have
Okay.
insurance? Did you have insurance on the house? Mr. Bailey? Have insurance? Johnny?
Did you have insurance on the piece of property?
No, I wouldn't try to put insurance on that property, and he had done something to where my insurance agent said he couldn't write insurance for him.
Okay, okay.
I think what he did
Get his money.
is, I found out he was a scoundrel, and he did this before, where he had his house or something, and he had his furniture insured, he collected from the insurance company. I think that's what he was doing there. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay.
I would suggest you get an attorney and see if you can straighten it out.
That's
But,
all you can.
what we're gonna do now, I think, is abate the nuisance. You need to get an attorney,
If you,
a real attorney.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, not none of us, 7 or 8 guys sitting up here.
Well,
Don't ask him.
I'm not
Thank you,
asking
sir.
him to say something. He's getting ready to leave.
He's
Go ahead and ask.
talking another hour.
Now, finish up. This is Brian.
Where are we?
It's-
We need
Been an
to
hour.
hear from Brian.
Anybody for, anybody else for it?
Anybody else in favor of it?
Mr. President, we started this case in April of last year. It is partially burned. There have been no improvements to it, nor are there any permits as of today to improve. We're asking for a resolution to abate this nuisance.
Brian, before you sit down, I got a question for you. Because, I mean, the gentleman just left, but out of all that confusion, if I look down on the agenda, we got a quit claim deed that the city is deeding the property back to him. So in other words, right now, the city owns the property.
Correct.
How did we get that?
How did we get it?
Yeah, how did we get it?
He had an attorney quit claim the deed to us without our knowledge. We would have had to have acted on that
Yeah.
and received it, but we didn't have that opportunity. But it was recorded, and now we're in the process of giving that back.
He needs to go see another attorney to get whoever that attorney was who messed him up on this deal. Sounds like.
That would be good advice.
That's what I would think, yeah.
That's what I
Okay.
said, get a real attorney.
Oh, you said get a real attorney, okay.
Okay. Is anybody else who would like to speak in favor of it? Chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second,
Is there any discussion?
I just want to make it clear that as of right now, we're tearing down city property. I just want to make that clear, because he do not own the property as of right
In
now.
about 10 minutes, it won't be in the case.
That's right, it'll be back in his hand.
Not necessarily, if he don't accept it back, we still own it. So either way it go. Am I right, Rogers?
Well, probably don't need to comment any further.
Okay, all right, we'll leave it alone then. All
I
right.
said my professional liability doesn't cover what we've been talking about.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 424 North 24th Street in District 6. The last known owner is Tommy Wise. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution?
Brian. I think Brian.
Anybody who would like to speak in
No,
favor?
Brian wants to speak.
Well, Mr. President, there have been some recent improvements to this property, and we're asking today that this case be tabled for 30 days.
Okay, it's in your district.
I make a motion that we table this item right here for 30 days, please.
Second.
Clerk, you take the vote.
Those in favor to table the resolution for 30 days, let it be number saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
Our final public hearings today are 6 resolutions assessing nuisance abatement liens against property. These are for grass cutting work that has already been performed. I'm going to read the addresses and names, and anyone who wishes to speak about any of these may come forward. Number 12 is 919 South Line Avenue in District 2, $151, Murray Owens. 938 Avenue A in District 3, $211, State of Alabama Property Tax Division, and then Alonzo Wilson. 908 South 15th Street in District 5, $481, Irene F. Latson. 1109 Foster Avenue in District 5, $676, State of Alabama Property Tax Division, and John and Lily Higgins. 2202 Sansom Avenue in District 6, $271, State of Alabama Property Tax Division, and Willie C. and Willie M. Gaddis. 38 Cabot Avenue in District 7, $256, Elaine Mers. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to any of these resolutions? Anyone who would like to speak in favor of them? Chair will entertain a motion to adopt all 6 resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the 6 resolutions, let it be number saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
18 is an ordinance authorizing quitclaim deed. Property at 417 Roslyn Drive in District 2 was deeded to the city by Jimmy L. Battelle without the consent of the city council and mayor. The ordinance will authorize a deed relinquishing the city's interest. It has been presented today for the first reading. The council will vote on it next week.
Mr. President, at this time, I'd ask for unanimous consent to consider.
Second.
Clerk, you take the vote.
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today, let it be number saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Taking the property.
We're giving it back to them.
Well, let's think about that. I might be wrong, Roger, you can tell me. If we do that, then we're gonna have a lien on the property, we're gonna be cutting it, we don't own it, so we might as well just take it, we're gonna have to cut it anyway. If we wanna sell it, it'll be clear, is that right, Roger?
Title clear. I mean, we got a questionable title, I guess.
Well, I know, but that's where you come in, you can straighten that out.
So that's why he gets paid the
Yeah,
big
we
bucks.
said that,
right?
we said consult a lawyer.
But I'm just saying,
Apparently we get
you know, if we
legal
get a
advice.
lien on it, we'd have to go through all that and foreclose and all, and if, you might wanna table this till he can check into it a little bit for real.
That makes sense.
Is there any risk in the interim relative to the city being the owner of the property?
Well, you're sort of encouraging the habits of the lawyer to deal with these things and record deeds in the city's name without the city's acceptance of the property. So, I mean, from that standpoint, it's probably not advisable.
We just give it to the attorney that did that.
Well, that's what I would do.
Send him a bill. No, I'm just saying, we're gonna end up with a lien and we're cutting it, we don't own it. If we own it, we just need to sort of think about that a little bit, I would
We
say.
may be doing that regardless of what we do.
Maybe.
But what if something happens and somebody has to be on that property and hurt themselves?
You incur the liability.
Well, it's gonna be torn down regardless. The house gonna be demolished regardless, but whatever. I'm just throwing that out.
You want to withdraw that and table it?
I mean, it's also not on the tax rolls too, since it was reported it took off, so nobody paid taxes on this last year.
Well, if we abate the nuisance, we'll put a lien against it, and eventually, if somebody ever sells the property, whoever finally winds up owning it, we'll get our money, so.
The city?
It
I
might
hold
be,
my breath waiting on that to happen.
well, who knows?
I was just wanting him to check it a little further, but
Well, it's a first reading, Mayor, why don't we just let it
No,
go
we
with
just-
that?
We just
went
did.
ahead.
We can do it again now?
Yeah.
That's right. Can we
Well,
back
we
off
just,
that?
we just vote no and,
Yeah. Same old.
bring it.
Well, he can just
come
withdraw
back
his
on next
motion.
year.
He can get back with us next week and see what it looks
Need
like.
some time to
Let
look
the
at it.
attorneys worry about it.
But I'm still concerned about what can happen in the interim. And before I withdraw the
Yeah.
motion, I'd like to understand better what can happen in the interim.
I think he brought up a good point there, that we'll be liable for the, anybody that's hurt on that property, if the city owns it, we'll be liable for it, so maybe we ought to get it out of our name.
It's not insured right now.
Yeah.
It's not covered by insurance.
So
I
I
think
mean,
we ought to go ahead and debate the nuisance.
Well, we've already voted.
We've
We've already
already
done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
We're
go
ready
ahead and
to
do
do
what
that.
you do. That's fine.
Now it is whether we're going to deed it back to.
Roger, you gonna give us any advice on what we ought to do?
Yeah, he did. So he ain't gonna give us none. That was
I
his
don't know,
advice.
there's a choice there, it's whether you wish to keep it in the city's name, you can do that, and we'll move ahead and,
His advice was he wasn't gonna give no advice.
well,
Well, it sound like I also heard, if I'm correct, that if we don't do this, then we're encouraging people to just do a quick deed, and give us property without us understanding or even realize that they've done it. And we could end up with some situations in the future that will be very, very, very uninviting, I should say. That's what I thought I heard, Roger.
That's what you heard. That was a motion on the floor. Call for the question.
and
Vote.
table motions too.
No, nobody made a motion to table.
so we're
Yeah,
Well,
we
if-
have a motion and second to adopt the ordinance,
got a
is what,
second.
what motion we have on the table.
Okay, take the vote.
now vote.
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Get it out of the way.
Let me say this.
Now work it out.
I like what the mayor is, I like the way he's thinking, but at this point, I don't know if I'm comfortable just retaining the title and retaining the city's interest in it. But I like the way you're thinking.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but if he just gave it to us, whoever the attorney is, we need to get in touch with him, because we can just give it to him if he can do it that easy. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Let's just make him a deed up and mail it to him,
Well,
Roger.
it's tit for tats. What it
Well,
is.
I'm just saying, you know, that's, you can't
I agree
just
with you.
give
We've
somebody
done it now.
a title and then be responsible for it.
Yeah.
You don't even know it.
That's right.
Ship it.
If you can, we'll get rid of all of them. Let's
Yeah.
give them all, 600 of them. Anyway, it's fine with me either way, I don't care.
Is it that easy, Roger? One-sided?
Not necessarily, they have, technically, you're supposed to
Yes, ma'am.
accept property. That's right. You're supposed to have it delivered to you, I mean, it's not a real conveyance until there's been a proper delivery and acceptance of the property, so even if somebody records something, it's a invalid document.
But we're behaving today as if it was a valid conveyance.
Well, no, the reason we're doing that is to get it back on the tax rolls. It was really a request from the probate office, because they can't put it back in his name until we have an instrument recorded putting it in his name.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, new business, is there any new business? There was some.
Yeah, you got to. You just hadn't got to it.
Robert got one, David got one.
Mr. President, I do have one item of new business.
Okay,
It's a resolution authorizing emergency solutions grant application and certification. I'd like to make a motion that we consider that today.
Second.
clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, this is essentially us authorizing application for what is synonymous with the McKinley grants for Salvation Army, 13th Place, and the Love Center. So this obviously gives, this is a resolution granting them authorization to proceed with application for the grant funds, and I think the city serves as a recipient for those funds.
Is there any other? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Mr. President, I have one here, authorizing agreement with Hessler for a digital postage machine with a 2-pound weighing platform. I'm not sure what the heck that is, but I'd ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, this goes to the Transportation Department. I'm not sure exactly what type of weighing machine it is, but it's something they need in transportation.
It's something to weigh the mail so they know how much postage to put on it.
Oh, that what it is? Okay.
I would have said.
That's what it sounded like, but it's a platform, so I guess that's what threw me off. Okay.
Okay, is there any other, we got to vote?
That voted, yeah.
Vote.
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Is there any other new business? Department reports, committees, boards, so forth. We have a new police chief with us today, Chief John Crane. If any of you don't know him, you want to make any comments, John?
Just glad to be here and enjoy working with you on for you. Thank you.
Okay. Remarks by the mayor and the council. Ben, you want to be first?
I could. Welcome aboard, Chief. Proud to have you here. Yeah. I think what I wanted to say this morning probably trumps everything to let Reverend Lem Lockmiller know that we're thinking about him in the hospital. Reverend Lockmiller is Jenny Shaver's dad. He's been through quite a hospitalization thing, and good luck there, buddy. Evidently you're doing great. I think, Jenny, is there a later report on your dad? He's in a regular room now. Yeah. Had his ups and downs, but that'll do. I had an announcement or two on the Alabama City Historical Association. We're going to have our grand opening this Sunday, the 25th, between 2 and 4 o'clock. And we'd like to invite everybody to come by and see what we've got in there, representing Republic Steel, just all of Alabama City, the Mill Village, Emma Sansom Room, the firefighter room, the Mill Village, I've already said, but the main focus now is the history of Alabama City. And we finally got the big marker up, Mayor, and that's really impressive. So we would love to have everybody come by March the 25th, Sunday, between 2 and 4 o'clock. I think that's all I have now. Robert, I think you were going to start something on the Washington trip. Yeah. Make a few comments there. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do want to welcome you, Chief, on board. I know he'll do a good job. He's already came to pre-council day and let us know some stuff that was going on in our districts, and I do appreciate that. And as Ben was talking about the Historical Society, Sunday a man brought me a whole box, Mayor, of tags that you put on all those cotton bales that come out of the cotton. I don't know how old those things are in that box. It's just crinkly, but there's probably 1,000 tags in that box, probably. And that's going to be something. I got to take it down there to Ben and them this week. And I would like to say that we have had an interesting city council meeting today. It's been different. That's all I got.
I'd certainly like to welcome Chief Crane. We're just looking forward to a long, happy honeymoon with our new chief. So we all get along and accomplish, and it's important to get along with the chief, with the council and the mayor. It's important to the city that we have a good working relationship, and we're looking forward to that. There was something brought to my attention that upset me this past week. We have quite a few neighborhood watches in our city that do a good job. They get out and work hard to improve the safety and the cleanness of their neighborhood. And we had one of them threatened by an undesirable person, and that's something we're not going to tolerate in this city. Those people get out and put themselves on the line to improve their neighborhood, and to be threatened by some undesirable is just something not going to happen. So we'll probably next week we'll be seeing some legislation toward that, remedying that.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill.
Bill, I thought you were going to brag about all that money you got committed up in Washington. But-
Well, asking ain't getting.
Oh, okay, all right.
But maybe, we have some high hopes, though.
Yeah, I'll give a report on it anyway. We had I think we had a great meeting in Washington on last week, meeting with our representatives, both our senators and one senator in person, Senator Sessions, Shelby staff, and Congressman Idaho. I think we got a commitment out of Senator Shelby to come up with the monies for the wildlife park. Do you feel like that, Bill? Was that a commitment?
He indicated he was very interested and he would help us, so, yeah, we're.
So I think that was a commitment. But what I was really impressed with was the fact that our two senators in the past have not favored or supported internet sales tax. And I think Sessions pretty much agreed that he was going to take a second look at it, that he sees some movement going now, and I think he's more in favorable of supporting it. And then, of course, in the Wednesday morning breakfast, Shelby pretty much agreed to look at it again, too. What has happened on the internet sales tax, we've had the Chamber of Commerce nationally, Amazon.com nationally, and a couple of other trades come on board. And, of course, now some of those senators up there who say they didn't want to raise any new taxes are supporting it now. So I felt real good about that. And I understand that the transportation bill, and I hadn't had a chance to look, I had some speaking engagements over the weekend. I know they were supposed to vote on it maybe on Thursday, Friday, but I'm not sure if they did or not. But I do know that both senators committed to supporting the new transportation bill. There's going to be quite a bit of additional funding coming down to states and municipalities, counties and municipalities for resurfacing. So we're looking forward to that. I think all in all, the trip to Washington was very, very fruitful. And again, like I said, if we can get the boardwalk monies, then I think that would pretty much be the coup de grace, and that would take care of everything that we tried to accomplish there in Washington. So, and that's all I have.
Yeah, you might want to just top in, and maybe Billy will do that on the Section 108 loan.
I will.
And, yeah,
Billy can
be sure and say something about that,
Yeah, I
because they
forgot
were very
about that.
receptive to CDBG.
Yeah.
They actually were.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
David?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I do want to, thank Councilman Stewart for continuing to be persistent with that. He approached that same issue on last year, got a similar commitment, but not from Mr. Sessions personally. And this year we've got that personal commitment. So anxious to see that follow through this time, and excited about that. We would like to also echo Ben's sentiment for our new police chief. Do want to welcome you and thank you for the report upstairs. That was meaningful, and look to continue to work with you going forward and having a fruitful relationship with you going forward. So good luck to you. Thank the council, and I say this often, and I'll repeat it. Our council does a pretty good job, even when we don't agree, of managing through difficult issues. And as Councilman Cannon alluded to earlier, we had an interesting meeting today, some challenges, but all in all, I think we do a very good job of managing through it. I don't like any of them, but we manage through it, and we do a good job of doing that. So I always want to encourage the council when that happens. I was made aware. Well, and before I get too far away from that, I do want to encourage family members, in particular those who have elderly family members who are being called on to try to manage through some of the more complicated business items, whether it be relative to real property, financial issues, whatever. Please step up to the plate, young and middle-aged family members, and support them as they manage through these. These are some very complicated issues. Much of what we saw today kind of speaks to that. You've got elderly family members that are having to manage some of these very complicated issues, and they need some of our younger family members to step up to the plate and be responsible. You often hear me say that the area where things tend to break down is where we're called on to be responsible. And let's not let that be the case. Let's step up and be responsible and support them. I was made aware that this month, I think, is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. And I know Councilman Harris typically speaks to the local events that we have, so I won't preempt that any, but I'll try to get more information and just make sure that we are raising the awareness relative to sickle cell awareness. And the final thing I have is the mental health budgetary issues that at some level will be passed down to local municipalities. I think there were some confusing reports in the news, in the media earlier in last week, it may have been late last week actually, where the governor was quoted as saying that he's putting a halt to, where he was quoted as saying he's putting a halt to the whole process of pushing back to municipalities some of the patient volume. I think what's important to note is that that's not going to change. I think what the government halted was the construction in Tuscaloosa relative to Bryce Hospital, I believe, but there was no halt in terms of the impact that we're going to have to municipalities. So cities are going to have to receive, and in particular some of the group homes and local hospitals are going to have to be prepared to try to receive some of that patient volume. So again, we're continuing to kind of stay in communication with the subject matter experts as it relates to that, to make sure that we're prepared and game planning and being strategic about how we get ready for that as a city. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. President. Derrick, I think, on the mental health issue, the governor is right in that. You're right in that construction, but I do believe that this time frame that the mental health, that the commissioner had put in place is not going to work. I don't think they're going to be able to do it as rapidly as they had planned on doing it, so that it will involve a little more time for her to get to the point to where she wants to get with placement of people, into the communities, which, as far as we're concerned, is a better solution for those people who are desirous or who have need for those services. But rest assured that it is coming. In addition to that, while we're talking about the state, your governor has issued a little better than 10% reduction, for the remainder of the fiscal year, and that's a lot of money. That's 20% really, basically, on an annual basis. So you can look for some services to be cut from the state. There's no way they're going to get around it. And when I see that, I think about the city of Gadsden, how we have done with our services here in Gadsden. With everything that's happened, and when you go to a meeting like we just attended in Washington, D.C., and you talk to a lot of cities, and or even the Alabama League of Municipalities, where they are cutting services because of lack of revenue, they're laying off people, and they are in a disastrous mode. Your city, the city of Gadsden, has been very conscious of your taxes and the monies that you and your services, and you haven't survived. You haven't had to encounter any cutbacks. Please be aware of that, and we will continue to do that. I also like to thank the chief. Thank the chief for being here today. Welcome to officially, I guess, the first council meeting that we've had. I will say this, that when we have our district meeting, April 16th, the chief will be our guest there, and I'm giving you plenty of notice so that the people in District 1 and the city of Gadsden that want to attend this meeting come out, because this chief is going to be there, and this is the time for you to show him your concerns and for him to understand the standing, and how the community feels, and the community can understand what needed from them, from the city, from the police chief. So I'm telling you, this is fair notice. April 16th, we will have another district meeting in District 1 at the East Gadsden Community Center, and the chief will be there. The other thing that, the trip to Washington was a good trip. We went to see all our representatives, and we came back more encouraged, I guess, this year than we did last time we talked to them. Had a much better feeling that they are recipient of, that they do receive the concerns that we have. And one of the main things that the National League of Cities is concerned about and pushing with Congress is CDBG funds. We had a cut in them this year. You can anticipate another cut, but they understand now better than they ever have before how important those funds are to us for infrastructure, for our neighborhoods, for street paving, and really creating jobs, job opportunities in our cities. So even though we can't anticipate that there won't be any cuts, they do understand that this is a program that works for the city, and that the cities benefit from it, and that they should continue that program without cuts. Now, whether it happens or not is a different story. Like Bill said, asking ain't getting. Asking ain't getting. And we also, the transportation bill, if I'm not mistaken, Ralph, I think they passed transportation bill last week.
Okay, good.
I think they did. I thought I saw something on that. But in that transportation bill, we encouraged them about the importance to Gadsden, the city of Gadsden, about the extension of 759. And I think we have several people who understand how important it is that we continue with 759 over to the intersection of 431 and 278 and 431. So we're very critical about that, and we're hoping that something positive comes out of those meetings. And I think, did I get it all? Oh, the 105 loans. CDBG, 108, I'm sorry, 108 loans. If the CDBG funds are discontinued, we've asked them to come up with some type of formula or something so that our debt can be forgiven on any city that has their outstanding balances on 108 loans, and we are one of those cities that has a rather substantial balance. And if they were to completely do away with CDBG funding, then someone has to pay that bill, and that's how that bill is being paid. The 108 loans being paid out of CDBG funding. So we've asked that if that should happen, then let there be some type of debt forgiveness or something so that the cities won't be strapped with that, because those loans were made on the contingency that we will continue to get CDBG funding to repay those loans. So it is very critical that we do that. So, and we can appreciate that. We also, and I don't want to, Robert talked about this, but internet sales is something that's just going to have to happen. We talk about generating revenue, and a lot of people, like you said, Sessions wasn't on board, but then after a couple of major corporations come on board with it, he's rethinking his position, and the logistics of having to collect the taxes and distribute them back to the states, is something that they'll have to work out. They pass the tax, and then work out, pass the tax. Put the tax into effect and then work out how you're going to collect it. I said, establish a clearinghouse, they collect all the taxes and then distribute them back out to the states based on some type of formula you have sales or whatever. But internet sales pretty much is going to be a thing of the future. They've gotten away with all those taxes escaping us for all these years. Now that's a way to generate revenue without putting a tax on the people, which is something that no person wants to do. And they'll tell you vividly they don't want to do it. But thank you. We're having some beautiful weather. This is just gorgeous weather, and we're enjoying it. As an old friend of mine said, y'all go fishing. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah, I'd just like to piggyback a little bit on what Derek was saying. I was just thinking, over the years in real estate, I've seen people, seniors, elderly people who somebody comes out, gives them a price on a roof job or paving a driveway, they take the money up front, never come back. And anybody who has elderly parents, friends, or seniors, or anybody they know, aunts, uncles, they need to stay in touch with them on any kind of issues as far as when they're going to be paying somebody, because they're taking advantage of a whole lot more than people realize. Also, we got the financial report from last month, and we're up, I don't remember the exact numbers, but going on with what Billy was saying, our revenues are up some, pleasantly surprised. I felt like they'd be up a little, but we haven't had layoffs, cut services. We're still doing projects and everything, and we have a little bit of savings. So if you keep up with the other cities, There's a lot of them are just completely going under. And I think as far as the money from way up the ladder, Washington down through Montgomery to here, it's probably going to still be pretty lean for a while. So we've got to hold on to what we're doing and keep trying to do the same thing. I guess, one other thing, the chief, I've had a couple of meetings with the chief. He's got some good ideas, and we're working on some things together, and we're certainly glad to have you here, Chief Crane. Just want to tell you that. We appreciate your comments and all your input in the last week or so. So, all in all, we're doing pretty good, and we're in good shape. Thank you.
Bob, I would like to say that, speaking of the elderly situation, that Bob and I would really appreciate any help that we can get. Can I say that, Bob? Would that be okay?
Yeah, you're just a kid, though, Dan.
Oh, no, I appreciate any help I can get, so bring it on.
The only problem with that is we try to give y'all help, but you don't listen to us. I don't know if you need a hearing aid or just tune us out, right, guys?
I know where you live, Mayor.
Mr. President, I got something I need to ask Councilman Williams, please. A while ago, he said he didn't like it. I don't know if he's referring to these people that's sitting up there with him or didn't like the council meeting. I need a little clarity on that before we go, if you don't please.
I thought it was pretty good. He said he didn't like the council members.
We'd have to go into executive session for me to clarify that, so let's not.
Okay.
Kind of expanding on what Derek said about, there's so many people out there that they don't have like this gentleman. There's mortgages on their property that hadn't been satisfied. And a lot of times when the elderly people die, the kids are in a turmoil because of it. Make sure you got a clean deed on your property. Check on that. There's just over and over again, I hear this situation, this nightmare where there's legal confusion with the property. So it's important to check on your parents' property and make sure that they have a proper deed and all the liens have been satisfied that it should have been.
I'll entertain a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
This meeting is adjourned.
We got that situation,